Echo. CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf Sierra Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic, news, opinions and information, and additional information can be found at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard, and if you are not acknowledged, then please do try again. If you miss your turn to call in, I will call for any strays at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET UK weekly activity net, as usual, in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 and their call sign wishing to check into the net, please call now. This is G4 and RC.
Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, name is Phil. In and out please Greg, but I'll try and listen up until church notices. G8KLC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8EEY, name is Mike. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, Bob, for a very windy Norfolk, Greg. No traffic, just in and out please.
This is G4 and RC. Okay, good afternoon to Phil, G8KLC, and Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, both of you in and out, and Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee, staying with me. Any other 8s to call into the net, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have station 7s and stations figure 7 in their call sign. Please call now. G4 and RC, over. Seven on the H, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, good afternoon, Greg.
Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Please, I've still got spot problems here at the moment. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
G4 and RC, okay, good afternoon, Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, staying with me, and Dave, yes, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, some packet loss on that, audibly anyway, copied you in and out. Any other 7s, please, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, then let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 and their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and LRC, second call, any stations figure 6 and their call sign, please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, then it's the 5s. Chief for an RC, try again, stations figure 5 in that call sign, please go ahead, over. Chief for an RC, not usually blessed with many 5s, so let's go for 4s, stations figure 4 in that call sign, please go ahead, over.
T4KIL, Philip, South Sussex. With David, located in Somerset. Good afternoon, Greg.
For Hotel Uniform, Foxtrot, Phil. G for an RC, so I've got Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, David, Golf 4 X-Ray Uniform Romeo, and Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Good afternoon to you all staying with me. Any other 4s, please? G for an RC, over. Chief for an RC, nothing heard, so let's have 3s. Stations figure 3 in that call sign, please go ahead. Chief for an RC, over.
Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray, in and out, but listening through. G3VH, Golf 3 Victor, Echo Hotel, near to a point in Cornwall. No traffic to in and out. Good afternoon, Greg. G3VH.
G for an RC, so good afternoon, Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, and Chris, Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, both in and out. Thanks, guys. Any other 3s, please? G for an RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so let's have 2s. Stations figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes you intermediate 2s. Please call now. G for an RC, over.
2 Echo 0, Charlie, Mike Sierra, calling from Midway, in and out.
Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra. Good afternoon, Coplin, and copied you in and out. Have a good day. Any other 2s, please? G for an RC, over. For an RC, then it's 1s. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead. G for an RC, over. For an RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead. G for an RC, over. For an RC, then let's go for Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over.
M0 JSI. Les from Leicester, no news, but I will be listening through, so I'm in and out, but listening.
M0 RSX, Richard from East Suffolk, in and out.
MI0, MSO, South Northern Ireland, in and out.
For an RC, okay, so I've got Alan Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha staying with me, but Les Mike 0 Juliet Victor Zulu, Richard Mike 0 Romeo Sierra X-Ray, and Philip Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar. All checking in, but in and out. Thanks, guys. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over? Then let's go for Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call for any Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over. G4 and RC, then any UK stations who missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4 and RC, over.
Hotel, Uniform Lima, no traffic, just in and out.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Jeff. Golf 8 Hotel Uniform Lima, copy in and out. Do we have any of our international colleagues with us today? Usually Nordsamband of Norway, Aaron in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any of our international colleagues today, please? G4 and RC, over.
Lima for 6 in your Mike. Name is Hans. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike. Good afternoon, Hans. Nice to hear you again over the weekend and copied you in and out. Okay, any station, UK or international, any station, UK or international that's missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Okay. Usual reminder, today's net is being live streamed by Graham, G7 and EH to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7 NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on YouTube, where you'll find past streams and even the live one from today. If you do like the live streaming, then please hit the like or subscribe buttons so that Graham knows it's worth carrying on. As we speak, Storm Bert is still affecting the country with high winds, snow and flooding, not necessarily in that order. The death toll across the UK and Ireland continues to grow, and flooding has caused local authorities in South Wales to set up rest centres for those who are unable to stay in their homes. So far, no reports of groups being activated or put on standby, unless you actually tell me anything during the net. Storm is not expected to get out of the UK's environment until probably Tuesday morning, at which point it will move on to Norway. A topic that may have come up in previous weeks was the what-if question that was recently raised by a local authority in the control room during a running event. In that case, the question was what would the response be if there was some kind of marauding attack, given the large number of people concentrated in a fairly small location. With an apparent flurry of unidentified packages occupying police up and down the country over the last couple of days, the question comes back to mind again about whether we think about how we could transfer control away to an alternative location during an event, and what the logistics might be if an organiser suddenly asks for all runners to be held at a location if a race is suspended for any reason. That should be sufficiently thought-provoking enough for today, so let's go and get some opinions, starting with Mike. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 EEY. Yes, well, weather in this part of the world, I don't think we've come off too badly. I know Bob says it's windy. 13.6 degrees, 994 millibars, so it's quite low pressure. 85% relative humidity and complete cloud cover. I'll try that again. 100% cloud cover. Winds 21.6 miles per hour. but gusting to nearly double that at times from 179 degrees. Yeah, we're not done too badly for Storm Bert. We've had some cold days, some wet days, and currently now reasonable temperature but windy. Yeah, I was looking at the flood alerts for mid and West Wales, and I thought, yeah, I know half of Pontypridd is underwater from the River Taff breaking the banks, and I was a student there in Treforest, so only a mile or two downstream from that. So I know the terrain, and yes, it easily floods. What ifs? Well, yes. I seem to remember they did have a rest centre exercise once, where they decided that, yeah, call everybody into County Hall to have a briefing before the exercise, which meant that I went past the rest centre that I would end up at, past the area of concern to get to the briefing. All seemed a bit strange, then we all had to go out through the area of concern to get to the rest centre again. Oh well, can't beat a good bit of planning. Don't see why they couldn't have just simply said, right, go to your rest centre, you've been allocated this. Would have made life a lot simpler. From G8 EEY.
Wolf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G4 and RC. Yeah, that's usually a favourite of fire service exercises, isn't it? Where somebody runs through and then they just immediately get tagged as expired because they've run through the toxic cloud. It's not the first time I've come across this question. Many years ago in my group, somebody thought it would be a cracking idea to organise a charity horse ride around the environment of a top-tier coma site. And the idea was, if the coma site decided it was going to have a bad day, then we would stop 200 horses from progressing through the area. If we think stopping people would be bad, then stopping a load of horses could be worse. But these were the semi-expectations of what we might be able to do if things went a bit wrong. Right, thanks for the weather report. The decimal points of degrees is just going to give Graham a challenge now to get even more detailed. Over to you, Graham. G7 and EH, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G7 and EH. Yeah, good afternoon to all on the net. Last week's net viewing figures were 27 views and no likes, and at the moment there's only one person viewing the net this week. I'll give you more of an update on the next round. I haven't quite got my phone with me, so I can't give you any weather information. So we'll probably leave that till the next round as well. So back to you, G4 and RC, G7 and H.
G7 and EH, G4 and RC. Okay, 27 views last week is good. At least we know it's being watched. And good afternoon to the one person watching live, whoever it may be. Yeah, there's a hanging thread there about mobile phones to access weather information off your own weather station that I'll just leave for a while until I can get it better formed in my head. Philip, G4KAL, I have a memory jogger to request of you. Elodie was meant to email me with a reminder of links from the talk that Kathy and I gave, and as time goes by I'm forgetting what links it was that was attracting most interest. So I'm not sure if you can send me a memory jogger about what floated people's boats and I needed to share more info about. G4KIL, G4 and RC, over.
Hi, G4 and RC from G4KIL. If I remember to ask her, I will do that. I can't remember what the links were, but I will certainly, if I remember, I will try and drop her an email, a text or an email or something to that effect. I'm the one person watching live, I think, because it dropped out, my link via the hotspot, when just after you called for the G0s. It just dropped out, and I rebooted the hotspot and tried accessing the Echo, and it didn't seem to work, and I thought, well, that's not working, and switched back to the other one, and it came on again, so I presume I'm coming through now, and that's all good. So yes, that noted. Sorry I didn't make HF at all this last week. Hope to make it on this coming Thursday. There is quite a lot going on, so I can't absolutely guarantee it, but I will certainly endeavour to do so. That's probably it for me at the moment. G4 NRC, G4 KIL.
G4 KIL, G4 NRC. Okay, HF conditions at the moment are very interesting, as in can't make a lot of stuff work that normally worked. And yes, if you tune the bands now, especially something like top band during the CQ Worldwide CW contest, I'm hearing countries I haven't heard in ages. So the big guns are definitely out to make propagation, even if it doesn't really exist. Okay, no worries. Let's get a report from David. Golf 4 X-ray Uniform Romeo, G4 NRC, over.
G4XUR, returning. Okay, well, the temperature down here in sunny Sunset, HI, is 13.5 degrees. Not the 17 that we were promised, but whoever believes the weathermen is perhaps taking it not serious enough. Nothing, anything to report here, other than the issue with movement of controls during an event. As you know, Greg, we always use repeaters down here, UHF inbound, and some of them sometimes 2 or 3 linked, which means that subject to battery power, the event controller can relocate, or control can be passed to another location to cover the whole area. That's all from here. Good afternoon, and thanks for running the net. G0DUB, G4XUR, the net.
You are G4 NRC. Just confirm you're staying with me for the next round, David, over.
Yeah, apologies, I was just conscious of the timer on my dashboard. Yes, will be, over.
G4 NRC, it's okay, parts of that over had an air of finality about them, so I wasn't sure. Yes, you bring up 2 aspects. One is whether or not the control is key technically to being the centre of the universe and needed to communicate to everybody. The other is the actual person, because if something goes a bit wrong on the event I was thinking of, then control would not be able to carry on. And a couple of times we've done that venue, we'd either be walking to the alternative location in a brisk walk, or would be locking all the doors and staying up there. So, yeah, brings about 2 aspects to the question, which is good because I hadn't thought it through that far. Okay, thanks for that. Phil, G4HUF, G4 NRC, over.
This is G4HUF. Good afternoon all, and particularly Greg for running the net, thank you. Right, well, as far as weather conditions are concerned, I cheat. I tune into Manchester Airport ATIS and just have a quick listen, and the latest report they've got is winds of 12 knots and 210 degrees, temperature plus 11, and the pressure is 988 hectopascals. So that's just a couple of miles down the road from where I am. A little bit higher than I am, but minor detail. It's a good enough indication of what the weather conditions are like in this area. As far as moving the checkpoint or control is concerned, I mean, most scenarios I've been involved with, and control's normally been a mobile station, and that ain't too easy to. That isn't going to be difficult to shift unless it's got a mast up alongside it. So that scenario for me is not something I've really thought through in that respect. So certainly worth thinking about. And the other thing I've got to mention is we've not forgotten you, Greg. We're still going to scan that magazine article for you. The challenge is remembering exactly where we've put the magazine at the moment, but it's not been forgotten. So that's it from me. I think I can't add to that unless anything else exciting happens with the next round. But so we'll stay with the group for the time being. This is G4HUF.
For HUF, G4 and RC returning. Yeah, there's probably something about everybody knowing their groups and capabilities as well that needs to throw into this. As we know, there are some people who would absolutely do anything to avoid net control, and others that therefore get condemned to doing the control forever, it seems. But having those people out there that you at least know you could transfer to and might have kept a bit of a running log of where things are up to is probably a useful thought. But yeah, I reckon remember doing one of your mobile controls, very, very mobile. So yeah, all good fun. Nobody's figured out how to tell me yet how to stop 300 horses in full flight. Maybe Alan will. M0JSA, G4 NRC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. How do you stop 200 horses? I don't know, if they're all boy horses, I suppose you could get a mare. That might slow them down. I did once on a Land Rover run through a ford up in Norfolk, come across a group of horse riders unable to proceed through the ford. They were being held up by two vicars in a car in the middle of the ford. So I don't think that quite count either, Greg. Nothing else to report down here. The weather's the same here as it is for EY. Some of our group were out in Santon Downham today on a 10k run. It is completely surrounded by trees. So I don't know how they got on with that today. It's literally right in the middle of the forest. All good fun. Nothing else to report, so I'll listen to the end. We'll be back to you, Greg. T4NRC, N0JSA.
M0JSA, G4NRC, you better listen to the end because I've got a question now about events in forests that's come to mind as well. No, I don't think we're going to keep clergy in a box to try and hold things up. It is really, I don't know, challenging, not just from a radio viewpoint, because we'd have to pass the message that would say, hold all participants, whether two-legged or four-legged, in whatever event we might have to do a hold for. We have to make sure we're believed, and then see if the marshals have got any ability to try and stop things. The Coma site event was particularly interesting because there was really no place else to go. The land was pretty much locked between the River Mersey and the motorway, so the Coma exclusion zone would have shut everybody down onto the wrong side of the premises from where their horse boxes were. So, yeah, it is the way. The question about forests might be worth you going round the link for everybody as well. We also in Cheshire used to cover an event in a lightly wooded area and had some real fun trying to figure out which was best between 6 metres, 4 metres, 2 metres and 70 centimetres. I seem to remember it wasn't very intuitive, so wondering what other people might have remembered. Back to the top of the list for the second round. Remember, I don't have basketball today, so you can knock yourselves out. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Oh, yes, that's an interesting one. Yes, we've had things like that where we've had runs going around that involve crossing roads and closing roads. And we've always worked on the principle that we're not really empowered to stop traffic moving. We normally rely on marshal.
Echo Yankee, you've dropped out. G4NRC, over.
Oh dear, I've dropped out. Oh, well, I'm back again. I don't know how far I got, but yeah, we're not really trained in doing that sort of level of policing, so I think we have to be very aware of that. If it comes down to control, of course, presumably under JESIP, we're usually in the same area as whoever we're working with or for. So really it's down to the organisers to decide where the safe routes out are. That's all I can say on that one, really. You have to be very wary. From G8EY, and thanks for running the net, and I'll try not to drop out again.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee. Okay, yeah, under JESIP, it's great if we've got all the services there, but if it's public service events, they might not rock up until something bad happens. So, but fair point, organisers should know the safe route out, and that was probably the points behind the local authority official on the event I was in the control room for, asking the questions just to see if they'd thought it through. Going to be slightly naughty now. Golf Juliet 8 Papa Victor Lima, you blipped in. Peter, are you just listening or wanting to take part? G4NRC, over.
Yeah, G4NRC, this is GJ8PVL, and good afternoon to everybody on frequency. Yeah, just give a quick report on Jersey there, if I may. We've now acquired our ambulance, and I believe I sent some photos over to you. So I'm just in the middle of finalising a 19-inch rack cabinet that we can mount all our radios in. Otherwise, everything's ready to go, and we finished all our events for this year. We've done 3 main ones, Gory Fate, the Jersey Air Display, and then we had a bonfire night in the beginning of November there. So otherwise, everything's going along nicely. Back to you, G4NRC from GJ8PVL. Over.
Papa Victor Lima, G4NRC returning. Yep, so those photos, 19-inch tractor house radios in a vehicle. Beautifully done. Just wondering how well restrained it'll be back to the walls, and to be careful of the centre of gravity, I suspect. However, I'll come back to you later, but since you did blip in, and Jersey always deserves a bit of a mention, just sneak you into the net at that point. Okay, Graham, round to you. G7 and EH, G4NRC, over. G7 and EH, G7 and EH, G4NRC, over. RC, we've lost Graham for the moment, so we'll try and bring him back in another round. Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4NRC, over. G4KIL, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4NRC, over. G4NRC starting to get a complex here. Golf 4 X-Ray Uniform Romeo, G4XUR, G4NRC, over.
G4XUR. Yeah, I am here, Greg. So just slightly amused. Yeah, just to answer your question about control being going offline or being cancelled. On our events, we always have a deputy radio controller, and their brief normally is to reside with one of the repeater locations and keep a brief on what's going on, such that they could step in should anything occur. And the other scenario, if I understood it correctly, if a checkpoint or a location is disabled, then we obviously take advice from the event organisers and respond accordingly with appropriate instructions or messages being passed. But just one interesting point is we give our user service or event fixed radio that's tuned to listen on to the amateur band or frequency that we're using, but transmits on 446, so they've got instant reply back to control to make us aware of their thoughts, just for information. Anyway, with that, good afternoon to you. I will listen to the end, but won't come back any further. G0DUB, sorry, G4NRC, G4XUR, the group.
G4XUR, G4NRC. Okay, interesting. Don't want to get into the murky weeds of PMR 446 and site approval. But anyway, 732, I'll just work back up my missing gaps in the list because G4KIL briefly hit echo test while you were speaking. G4KIL, you back with me? G4NRC, over.
From G4KIL. Yeah, very well noticed on that one. Yeah, I don't know why. The link dropped out again. So I don't know whether that's the dreaded SD card needing refreshing. Or what it is, but it's that second time I did it. Okay, well, I did send a quick message through to Elodie. She responded. She couldn't remember what it was about. I think we've probably all forgotten now. So if somebody comes up with it again, I'll let you know. But apart from that, don't worry about it. I think probably. Unless it was something you wanted from us, but I think it was the other way around, wasn't it? Okay, I'll sign at that point. I'll carry on listening till the next thing. This is G4NRC, G4KIL.
G4KIL, G4NRC returning for the second time. My sense of a link drop. So it can't be the SD card, must be something else. Thanks for checking with Elodie. I know partway through the session people were saying, what are these links? And I said, you ask me for them, I will remember them. But in the intervening period since doing that talk for your group and now, I've had an awful lot of other meetings which are vying for a share of the single brain cell I've got left. So fine, if anything crops up and somebody goes, didn't Greg say something about this, then please do jog my memory. Right, while I'm filling in my gaps, G7 and the H, are you back with me? G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so I'll keep plowing down the list for Phil. Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4 and RC, over.
It is G4HUF returning. Right, interesting. Well, as far as the contents of people's comments are concerned so far today, all been educational. The idea of having a, for want of a better expression, a standby control makes a lot of sense. I mean, the one or two events that we do not warrant talk-through boxes and things like that. So it's obviously going to be a case of a well-located checkpoint being nominated as the backup control should any issues occur with the main control from our point of view. But even so, it is something worth considering and having to any sort of briefing. So coming on the net this afternoon has been worthwhile from my point of view. I've learned from it. As far as forest ops are concerned, can't really provide any advice and guidance in that regard, because I don't think that we've done anything that's been in the depths of forests in that respect, so can't really comment. So not a lot of help as far as that's concerned, but as I say, I appreciate others' input, which is making my grey scales go clunk, clunk, clunk. So that is appreciated. With that, I'll pass it back to you. G4NRC, this is G4HUF.
HUF, G4NRC returning. Educate, inform and entertain, I think, is the public service mantra, so that's all I try and do on the net. Yeah, I usually put in our briefing notes that the talk-through location, which is a convenience rather than an essential for a lot of things, just to get control out of a control room on a cleaner frequency. The talk-through location would be the standby, because that's usually the only other place I've got double manned. So it makes it logical to make that on the standby location. So we put it in, just don't exercise it very often, which might be something that changes depending on what I remember to next year's events. Okay, thanks for coming on, Phil. Regards to you and Pat, and see you next week. Alan, you're not going to be last. Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. That makes a change, but I'm used to being last. On the alternative control idea, we don't have trouble manning one control, let alone two. But I will feed that back to Ian, my group controller, as a good thought. We try and have 3 people in control, so a person dropping out wouldn't be so much of a problem, but losing the whole control might be. Well, we'll feed that back to him. I'll give him something else to worry about. As for forest ops, I think you are right about being counterintuitive. In built-up areas, you would tend to use UHF as a preference to bounce around the buildings, but that doesn't work in trees because the trees absorb the UHF. The exercise we done last week with a local search and rescue group in Thetford Forest, we had a control which was 17 miles away from the checkpoint, which was a bit of a blow. For some bizarre reason, that was a long way away. I was at the checkpoint in the trees with a 12-metre mast for 2 metres and a 10-metre mast for 10 metres, 70 meg, to act as the checkpoint. And I couldn't get to control on 2 metres at all. Couldn't hear him, he couldn't hear me. But I got through fine on 10 metres until the search teams turned up and one of their vehicles must have had something in it, which completely wiped out my 10 metres. With interference, we tried to work out which one it was, but no one would admit to it. So that was a bit of a blow. So that's the actual people we were helping with taking our radios out. They were using 155, business mobile radio 155, and they were having all sorts of problems talking to their teams in the forest, and they couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 miles away from where they were operating out of a vehicle. So yes, it is a challenge, and wet weather would make it worse, but it does seem to be counterintuitive. The 4 metres seems to work better than the 2 metres, and the 2 metres definitely works better than UHF 77s in a forest. That's our practical view from last week. It might change next time. Thanks for running the net, Greg. Back to you, G4NRC M0JSR group.
Juliet Sierra Alpha G4 NRC returning. Okay, yeah, you confused me with 10 meters there, because I thought I had 70 megs at one point, so if it was genuinely 10 meters, that was a whole new game to play. We were interested because the particular forested area is on one of the larger estates in Cheshire, and the estate radios work on 70 megs-ish, the VHF low band, which seems to be what works for them in the rolling rural countryside. So again, just another little idle question point to throw out. Okay, thanks for the experience, and yeah, finding one controller, let alone two, that's made it into the log, because I totally agree with that one. Okay, we may finish the net while I WhatsApp Graham with Peter next. Golf Juliet 8, Papa Victor Lima, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, this is GJ8 PVL. Yeah, it's interesting to hear the problems that you're having. Over in Jersey there, we've got a 9-meter mast which we use, and we put a VHF and a UHF aerial on the commercial frequencies, and then the organizer of the event usually has 2 radios so that he can keep in touch with security on one of them and marshals on the other. And some of our marshals, they're out in car parks which are away from the event itself, in muddy fields with all the rain that we've been having. And then we also have some direct channels on the radios. So we use TYT, and the main mobile radios are 50 watts. And of course now we've got some of the handhelds that are actually 10 watts that we could use if we want to. But that seems to do for Jersey. And next year we've got some fixed repeaters, which we're going to put up at a couple of locations so that we've got island-wide coverage on the commercial channels. Other than that, it's just a question of plodding along, and obviously we're going to try and use on the back of the ambulance where the lift is. We're going to try and put just a 32mm pole so that the aerials are above the ambulance. But when we're out in the field for some of the events, because we've had long distances to cover, we've actually gone to the extent of getting some 3 dB gain aerials, which certainly helps reception and transmission getting through. So we managed to get from the airport along to our avenue in St Helier for our air display there, and that seemed to work well. No problems at all, and no dropping out. That's about all from me. Weather here is probably very much the same as you've got in England. The barometer's about 996 here at the moment, and it's been dropping. It was 1000 this morning. So I think we've got some bad weather to come again in the next couple of days, and high winds. Back to you, G4 NRC from GJ8 PVL.
Juliet 8, Papa Victor Lima, G4 NRC returning. Okay, interesting. You've provoked me with a couple of things you said in reverse order. I think the forecast is just the high winds and bad weather to come around and hit the south coast again as Storm Bert passes off the northwest of Scotland. So as the winds whip around, it might get interesting again for you. I know you said you're putting commercial repeaters up, but it does remind me to do the standard public service announcement that says if a RAYNET group still requires call signs in the 5 to 25 watt ERP range, please contact permits@raynet-uk.net so I can issue them a call sign and everything would be legal. If you want a high power repeater, that's over 25 watts ERP. Likewise, email permits@raynet-uk.net first before going to tackle the RSGB ETCC website, so I can tell you how to make sure your application actually comes through to me for processing as a temporary repeater, not a full-time one. Yeah, masts and additions. If I get my 3D printer working a little bit later on, I've got a new adapter to fit on the top of my telescopic little push-up mast to allow multi-antennas on the top rather than being a bit constrained. So that's another mission for me too, Peter. Right, I have witted enough. We've done 2 rounds. Graham has been called away on affairs of state, so he won't be able to come back on the net. So I shall bring things